Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Should we even debate how many hours of load shedding we had to endure in the last 24 hours? Frankly, I have lost count because the situation is getting seriously grim. We can maybe blame the onslaught of floods and dengue on forces of nature out of our control, but load shedding can and should be attributed squarely to the incompetency of our leadership. If numbers are your thing, we have a shortfall of roughly 8,000 megawatts, which translates into 14 to 18 hours of load shedding in a single day. People have resorted to violent mass protests all over the country. Traders in Faisalabad have gone on strike. Angry demonstrators in Gujranwala attacked and damaged a train, set vehicles on fire and damaged a WAPDA office. The list is long and sad, with no respite in sight. Let's start this morning with a prayer that today is a better day than yesterday and we can soon see the light, literally. You're watching the morning show with Huma Amir Shah. First up, newspaper headlines. The Express Tribune's main story is the energy crisis. Prime Minister Gilani has opted for the quick fix solution of closing businesses and shops at 8 p.m, 2 weekly holidays, and ordered the Finance Ministry to release 9 billion rupees to PSO. Meanwhile, Dawn reports Commerce Minister Amin Fahim, while on a 3-day trip to India, formally invited Indian Premier Dr. Manmohan Singh to visit Pakistan, raising hopes that the two countries would be able to enhance economic and business ties. And Daily Times reports that the operational leader of the Haqqani network has claimed the United States and other countries had contacted the Haqqanis and persuaded them to join the Afghan government. There you have it. This is what is happening in the local newspapers in front of me. And international newspapers now, and the gripping trial of Amanda Knox dominates the New York Times today. It reports that an Italian court has reversed the murder conviction of the 24-year-old American student who was accused of murdering her roommate. More on this in just a while. Meanwhile, UK's Guardian reveals an Amnesty International report that accuses the Syrian government of torturing relatives of Syrians who are protesting overseas in an attempt to silence international criticism of President Bashar al-Assad's regime. And Khalij Times reports that Dubai's vibrant diamond trade is set to make it the world's third largest diamond hub, with the value of 2011 trading expected to surpass the $35 billion mark that was set last year. Very apt headline considering it's Dubai. We are talking about everything bling over there. Moving images now for you, and the first one is really interesting. I thought that was like a real picture. It is a real picture, of course, but it's out of a movie set. Yeah. There you have it, mighty migration, and you'll know what we are talking about just in a moment. Let it come into view. By the way, what you see here are sheep driven through the Piazza Duomo during the final filming of The Last Shepherd in Milan. And reaching out, Melvin Miller dancing during a service marking Rosh Hashanah at the All Souls Sanctuary on the Upper East Side. And this picture would be from New York. That's quite a high jump there. Freaky Friday. Protesters with painted faces look on after a march to Los Angeles City Hall during the Occupy Los Angeles demonstration in solidarity with the Occupy Wall Street protest. And this picture is from California. Firefly there. And in case you're wondering what is going on, these are devotees of the Bang New Chinese shrine standing amid exploding firecrackers as they take part in a procession in Phuket, Thailand. Aqua wonder there. Just check out the colors. I absolutely love these colors. And the amazement on this little boy's face, tourists visiting the newly opened Wuhan Polar Ocean World, and this would be in Wuhan, China. Last man standing there. There you see him. Libyan men perform the weekly Friday noon prayer outside a mosque in Tripoli as Libya's new rulers were probing the whereabouts of the public voice of Muammar Gaddafi's regime. If you never change your mind, why have one? That's a very valid question if you ask me. And really like this picture. We named it The Awakening. This is a protester in the Occupy Wall Street group, and this would be from New York. Too little, too late, no points for guessing where this picture is from. This is our very own Islamabad, a vegetable vendor adjusting the light over his cart in Islamabad, Pakistan. And a total contrast there if you ask me. After Glow, and Usha Ben Dave wears dozens of oil lamps during celebrations at the Navratri festival in Ahmedabad. Navratri, I hope I said it right. Code red there, everything does seem very red. Fireworks light up Victoria Harbour and the Hong Kong skyline during National Day celebrations, and China together with Hong Kong and Macau is celebrating its 62nd anniversary. That looks pretty spectacular. And the final one for you, purple hearts there, and the stool pigeon cocktail at the Tippler new cocktail bar in the basement of Chelsea Market in New York City. Which is besides the point. What we like here are the colors, yes, and the images, that other images, yummy images that they gave us. Okay, day in history now, and we have for you a nice list of people who were born on this day, but starting off with something that you first must watch. Alright, on this historic day in 1957, the first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1, was put into the Earth's orbit by the Soviet Union, and the unanticipated announcement of Sputnik 1's success precipitated the Sputnik crisis in the United States and ignited the space race within the Cold War. With this one launch, the space age began, ushering in new political, military and scientific developments. And moving on, her character in the sleeper hit teen comedy Clueless in 1995 made her a spokeswoman of the emerging generation. Alicia Silverstone celebrates her 35th birthday today. The Crush actress has won several awards for her film performances, including MTV Movie Awards, Young Artist Awards and an American Comedy Award. She has been nominated for an Emmy and a Golden Globe as well. And birthday wishes for Susan Sarandon, the American actress, social and political activist, turns 65 today. Sarandon is most widely known for her role in the 1995 film Dead Man Walking, for which she earned an Academy Award. She's been nominated for awards 4 times before that, and she's also won an Action Against Hunger humanitarian award. Was honored for her work as a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador and being an advocate for victims of hunger and HIV/AIDS. And he is known as the epic man who, when heroes came from history books, not comic books, The late rugged Hollywood icon Charlton Heston was born today in 1923. Heston is known for heroic roles in films such as El Cid, The Ten Commandments, Planet of the Apes, but it was Ben-Hur that confirmed Heston's status as epic hero. It won 11 Oscars, imagine that, including one for Heston as Best Actor. But the epic man didn't stop there. Heston was also politically outspoken in the 60s, a time when that was very rare in Hollywood. Remember him? Twice Grammy-winning Cuban-American singer John Cicada celebrates his 50th birthday today. His music fuses funk, soul, pop and Latin percussion. Cicada also has worked as a songwriter for big names such as Gloria Estefan, Jennifer Lopez, Ricky Martin, Mandy Moore and other performers. And this best-selling Southern writer is one of the most widely read authors in modern history, Gothic writer Anne Rice turns 70 today. Her book Interview with the Vampire was adapted into a star-studded film starring Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt and Antonio Banderas. And her second film adaptation was Queen of the Damned, starring late singer Alaya as Akasha, Queen of the Vampires. Alright, so there you have it. And I promised you a star-studded day in history and you had that one. Let's move on to a couple of stories now, and this is interesting. We spoke about this in the headlines earlier. Now, although little known in this part of the world, the trial of 24-year-old American student Amanda Knox had enthralled people on both sides of the Atlantic. Emotions had been building up over 4 years, but finally spilled forth with a verdict that cleared Knox of all charges. Now, Amanda Knox had been a flatmate of the murder victim Meredith Ketcher, a British national. She and her then boyfriend Rafael Solecito were accused of assaulting and murdering Ketcher in Perugia, Italy, where both girls were attending university as exchange students. And prosecutors tried to paint Knox as a she-devil, but their case was mostly based on circumstantial evidence. And the trials have been the subject of sensational news reports around the world, particularly in Italy, Britain and the United States. And reactions to the case have been highly polarized and criticized for the coverage being tabloid in nature. But she walks free now, so I guess all's well. Now, on the face of it, it may seem like glittering heaven on earth, but the human rights record of the United Arab Emirates has often come under scrutiny. Fresh concerns have been raised once again after 5 pro-democracy activists boycotted their own trial in protest over prison conditions. Now, these men have been held in custody since April, when they were arrested on charges of insulting the UAE's royal potentates by calling for political reform. Their case has become a powerful symbol of the growing repression in the country since its rulers mounted a campaign against free speech this year. It was clearly an effort to insulate themselves from the popular revolts that have reverberated through much of the Arab world this year. And the Emirati royals, desperate to show UAE as enlightened, held the trial in open court, but the men's refusal to appear only embarrassed the royals further. Now, the Nobel season has kicked off and there are sure to be life-changing moments, objections and disappointments, but sometimes the committee itself is caught off guard with unexpected situations. Now, the Nobel Medicine Prize jury was shocked when it awarded a Canadian scientist who, unbeknownst to them, died only 3 days before the announcement. 68-year-old Ralph Steinman, to be honored for pioneering immune research, had died of pancreatic cancer. Professor Steinman had survived the illness for 4 years thanks largely to a form of immunotherapy he had designed using his own discoveries. And committee officials said it had been difficult, but rules of posthumous awards were being reviewed. Okay, now the gripping manslaughter trial against Michael Jackson's doctor began its second week yesterday. Prosecutors furthered their examination of an emergency room physician who gave paramedics permission to pronounce the pop superstar dead in the bedroom of his home. Now, prosecutors have been laying out their case against 58-year-old Dr. Conrad Murray largely in chronological fashion, and witnesses during the first week of trial recounted the singer's final performances, his interactions with fans on his last day, and frantic efforts